Hey everybody, how's it going? We're gonna get started today with yet another MacBook repair. Are we all excited? Are you still ticked off at those Bulgarians? You know, I'm more pissed off at the fact that when I Google MacBook Logic Board Repair Belgium, the first fucking result that shows up is a Bulgarian website. See, that's what I get though for making that goddamn video about Google yesterday. I make a video about Google and they make me look like a fucking idiot. So for those of you who are wondering, I had someone message me that said, I am looking for a MacBook repair. I am in Belgium. Do you know anybody? And I actually had a student a long time ago from Belgium, but I forgot the exact name of his website. So I figured, let me Google. So I Google MacBook Logic Board Repair Belgium, and I click on a bunch of sites. And the first one that showed up, I'm like, okay, this looks a little familiar. Fine, whatever, you copied the theme, who gives a shit? Like, seriously, who gives a shit? I'm like, you straight up copied and pasted my entire fucking website. It's not like everything, all of it. And like, I'm not one of those people that goes over copyright and all that and says you used a piece of my content. Like I'm not gonna submit a copy. That's a fucking waste of my time. But I think I think it is a lame thing to do for sure. It's kind of like what Roger Waters did when he figured out that Andrew Lloyd Webber plagiarized Phantom of the Opera from his Echoes. You know, he didn't sue Andrew Lloyd Webber. He just made a song in 1992 about a piano lid breaking his fingers. You know, it's one of those things. Like I'm not the type of person that's gonna actually submit a fucking copyright complaint or any of that horse shit. It's just like, right, if you're making a website, right? Make a website that tells me why I should use you, what makes you special, what sets you apart, what you believe. Like type that shit. That's your words. That's your thoughts. That's your ideas. That's what inspired you to start a business. You do, type you. And someone said like, the guy typed that he admires you or whatever in there. It's like I don't care. You copied and pasted my whole site. It's not even a business thing, because I explicitly tell people with for international stuff, don't send it to me. You're better off finding someone in your country. Do not deal with customs. Do not deal with the expensive shipping back and forth. Find someone in your country. It's not even a stealing business thing. It's just kind of lame, you know. And yeah, the other lame thing is that Google got me there. They straight up. I didn't bother checking the address on the website to see that it's Bulgaria. I figured that if I Google MacBook Logic Board Repair Belgium, that the first result that shows up on Google would actually be in fucking Belgium. But then again, we're talking about a website that allows dick pill ads and human trafficking ads, but will not allow ads for repair. So like, clearly I put a little bit more trust into Google than I should be. Yeah, I actually typed in the end. It's like you have like a it must be Belgium's taxes are too high. You can't afford to hire a writer. Tongue in cheek. And it's like, yeah, it's in Bulgaria. Yeah, aren't you a fucking dumbass, Lewis? Because I actually did wind up looking it up in my scheduler and finding my student's website. And I referred this customer to my old student who was in Belgium. Because he's a smart guy. But yeah, that was funny all around. That was funny all around. Okay, so what's wrong with this MacBook? So I'm going to turn on my power supply. Let's attach my power supply software. Get that showing up on the screen. Do you fix magic mouses? I do not fix mice, man. You can buy a mouse online for like $20. I don't fix mice. If you can buy something for less than the cost of lunch in New York City, I don't fix it. I'll put it that way. Bash that shit over the table, and if that doesn't fix it, then it's out the door. All right. We got 18 milliamps. We got no green light. See that? 18 milliamps, no green light. Let's take the board out and see what's going on with this MacBook, as Erica would call it. She likes to say MacBook. She never says MacBook. It's MacBook. She'll look at me and go, I love my MacBook. Kevro says taxation is theft. Where do you stream most of the time? Looks like a lot of your videos on the main channel are stream recordings, but I can't find them on Twitch or YouTube. I stream to this live channel on YouTube, and every now and then I will stream to Twitch when Restream.io is working, but over the past month, Restream.io has been kind of up and down. So the videos you see on the main channel are edited versions of live streams, but it usually takes me a while to get around to editing them or to have Hi edit them. So there's about probably a month delay. And what I try to trim as much of the fat out of the stuff that I post to the main channel as humanly possible. I have the main channel, this channel split because a lot of people said they do not want to be there to watch, an hour and a half of me digging around or speaking to chat or the stuff that doesn't work. First thing we have to do when looking at a board like this that has so much corrosion in so many areas is we need to figure out what corrosion is the relevant corrosion. So this doesn't have a green light in the charger, right? So if I go through this board, you're going to see multiple areas on it are corroded. And these areas are all for different things. Now, if you're starting on this video as one of the first board repair videos you've watched from me, you really shouldn't, because I'm not going to go over everything as in depth as usual. I'm going to assume that you have some prior knowledge, which I usually don't do, and I think part of what makes me a decent teacher. So the first thing we need to do is figure out what's relevant. So this is we have a missing green light, right? So the missing green light. So let's go over everything here. So we have Thunderbolt and USB area has corrosion. Do I care about Thunderbolt? No, it doesn't turn on. Why would I care about Thunderbolt? That's a waste. We have corrosion over here by the backlight circuit. Do I care about backlight? Doesn't turn on. No. Corrosion by the BIOS. If it's not turning on once we fix the green light issue, I'll be concerned about that. Corrosion by the ISL 6259. That's something to be concerned about because that deals with the charger. Corrosion by the SMC. Absolutely important because this chip is going to speak to the charger to get us a green light. This chip over here. This is the SMC Reset L. Yeah, so let's be honest, you never care about Thunderbolt. Yeah, let's be honest, I don't. But yeah, this is the SMC Reset L chip. This is going to turn the SMC on. Do I care about this? Very much. So we are going to start working on the sections we're going to work on this in order. So before Thunderbolt turns on, I need to get a green light for the computer to turn on. And before the computer can turn on, I need to have a fucking green light in the charger so the charger is activated. So we're going to focus on the corrosion that is closest to the areas that I need fixed. Because if those things are not fixable, then focusing on the rest is a waste of my time. So let's see what we can do there. Let's be honest, you never care about Thunderbolt. Hey, man. Never claimed I did. Never claimed I did. Guilty as charged. Your student in Western Florida fixed my MacBook Pro 2011. Who's fixing MacBook Pro 2011s? Tell me who he is so I can go down there and toss him in a river. My MacBook Pro late 2013, 15-inch dual graphics is not turning on. Charger light is on but orange even though no battery is connected. That is totally normal. On all of the Retina machines, the charger light turns on even when there's no battery connected. Same for same for just about any MagSafe 2 device, I believe. Walk-ins are picking up, and I am not removing the wood because when they find some technicality to let Derek Chauvin go, like, oh, the guy was on drugs, or the guy had he already had heart issues and all that other stuff. Once they find a technicality to let him go, the world is going to burn. And when the world does burn, I would like at the very least for my store to be mildly covered. How far can you live away from New York without a car? That depends on what type of motor you have on your electric bike and what your personal tolerance is. As well. Someone says Thunderbolt is a pile of shit. Kind of. Yeah, what could be the problem? So to be an asshole, that's kind of like saying my car doesn't start. What's wrong with it? Like, I don't know. I don't know. I got about 1,000 videos out there that are dedicated to showing you what it is that you need to measure, that you need to look at, so that you can figure that out. But like me figuring that out right now, like I don't know. I don't know. I will throw you an answer. It is a component. Probably a component. No, really, I have no idea. I have there's no information there. How many amps is it taking? I don't know. What voltage is PP Bus G3 hot? I don't know. Is PM Sleep S4L there? I don't know. I don't know. What am I, psychic? Do you need a burrito? I can't get a burrito. Dos Toros has been closed for weeks. Can't even get a burrito. People wonder why I'm angry. All right. I'm going to give the SMC a mild reflow. Is your hardtail e-bike comfortable on New York City roads? Am I happy paying a $20,000 a year property tax? Is de Blasio a good mayor? Is Cuomo a good governor? Does the NYPD have a quality relationship with minority communities in New York City? Does Apple support right to repair? Does Donald Trump put thought and effort into his tweets? Does Joe Biden have all of his marbles? Are Fox and MSNBC unbiased? Are e-scooters superior to e-bikes? You see how I worked your donation message into my rant there? I hate e-scooters. Because they always cut right in front of me and then go at 19.9 miles an hour, but like actual 19.9, not my 19.9. So man, if you're gonna cut in front of me, go my speed or go the fuck home. I just pulled an Eli. You know what? Indeed I did. Indeed I did. Are the average prices for lunch in New York burgers / noodle boxes? It's not much, but here's something towards today's lunch. Thank you very much, Mr. Marty South. Yeah, if I wanted to get a delivery of that burrito rather than pick it up, I'm not kidding you, that place was like $30 fucking, which is crazy. That is insane. They have a $20 minimum, but then they have a $4 or $5 delivery fee, and there is sales tax on top of it, so that by the time you get to the burrito, it's like 27 to 28 bucks, and then they want a tip. So I usually don't order the burrito. It's very rare if I ever do that. I will go and pick it up in person, because there's no burrito on planet Earth that is worth $30. It doesn't exist. My e-scooter goes 40 miles an hour. You know, I've tried the e-scooter before, and here's the thing. I've been riding a bicycle since I was 5 years old. Before that, I was riding a tricycle. I think I had my training wheels taken off when I was about 6.5 years old when I had my training wheels taken off of my bicycle. So I have a lot of experience with riding a bike. And so far, knock on wood, as I bragged to Paul earlier today, I've never hit a pedestrian, to Paul's great surprise. So I'm really used to riding a bicycle. But I am not used to riding a scooter. I had one of those little shitty Razor scooters that you could get from Toys R Us for like $80 back in the day. Remember those? Remember the Razor scooter? So I had one of those. But it wasn't really a scooter that how do I put this? I wasn't going anywhere near these types of speeds on it. So I'd have to kind of redo my framework for what I'm comfortable with and relearn it from scratch. And I don't see where there's a benefit in it, because I don't see how the scooter is better than the bicycle. Especially if we're talking about long distances, like we're talking about going 20 or 30 miles, on a regular basis. No way a normal burrito is worth $30. Yeah, it's not. That's insanity. Sean Hannity. My cap flew and there's a strange liquid that it sprayed out. Maybe it's just excited to see you. Alright, now that ISL 6259, since that handles a high voltage and also speaks with the SMC, we are not going to reuse that. Screw that, because that could send 18 volts to my SMC. Sam, you know, I'm not familiar with what he does. And I'm honestly not... Here's the thing. I think that if you're interviewing someone, it should be because you express a genuine interest and understanding on what they do. And I don't know who that person is. So, if you know that person and understand what they do innately and have questions, you would be able to do an excellent interview. Whereas, if I were to do an interview, it would probably sound forced and not very interesting, because tips should not be used to subsidize substandard wages, someone says. I think a big part of that is that it's a way for businesses to try and figure out how to lower one of their largest costs in an industry where, for lack of a better way to put it, I'm trying to find a way to say this where I don't sound like an idiot, but I know I'm going to sound like an idiot. This is the live channel, not the main one. Hi, you can edit this out, right? So, how to put this? Restaurants are one of those businesses where it's ridiculously easy to lose all of your money and go out of business. And like a lot of the restaurants that you see that you think are profitable are not actually profitable. So this is a way of hedging their bets, where if the restaurant is successful, the employees will make a fuck ton of money. And you can get your $400 a night or so in tips. And if the restaurant is not successful, then they're not as fucked as they would be otherwise. Whether or not this is a good thing or not, that is for all of you to argue. But yeah, in New York City, having a restaurant is an absolute clusterfuck. The rent that you will be charged is going to be virtually double on any space, even if it's about the same size. Like for my old store, I was paying, I think, $3,500 when I first got it, at the exact same time that the tenant next door was paying about $6,500 for the exact same size fucking space. Same general layout. It's just he was using it for food and I wasn't. There's a lot of red tape in New York City to open a restaurant. The rent is insane. The cost of living is insane. All this shit is insane. And I mean, none of that shit's going to get any better from COVID. It's just, instead of having a low wage that's subsidized by tips, you're now going to have no wage subsidized by, I don't know, Cuomo taxing the rest of us more, probably. But the other thing with restaurants is that a lot of restaurants, like, is it really your fault that they suck at running a business, kind of thing? I'm sympathetic to that argument to an extent, because I've had people say, well, if you can't afford this, then you should not be running a business. And it's kind of annoying to hear that, because when I started my business, I could not afford jack shit. I remember one of my best friends, Jake, and I haven't spoken to him in a while. I've actually been a really shitty friend there. I'm sorry, Jake, if you're listening to this. I got to start being... Jake is kind of like me in that regard, that he's bad at keeping up with people when he gets very busy, and I'm very bad at keeping up with people when I get very busy. We both get very tunnel-visioned in our work and are trying to keep up in our individual hamster wheels. But I remember offering him, I think, a chicken roll from Amadeus Pizza back when I was too broke to actually hire people and pay them properly to help me with shipping. And I remember at that point in time, Jake was broke enough that he was willing to be paid for his work and time and hungry with a chicken roll from Amadeus Pizza on 30th Street. So, now if I'm not allowed to hire someone for a chicken roll, that means no chicken roll for Jake. And if I'm not allowed to have a business, then I'm not going to have the thing that eventually grows into this. Stream is dropped off. Yeah, speak to Susan Wojcicki about that. She'll help you out with that. Susan Wojcicki will help you out with that. Yeah. One sec, let me just give you a personal phone number. But yeah, I remember being behind on shipping this one day because I had to write out everything manually, and the electricity had been turned off in the building that I was in, or at least on the floor of the building that I was in. And so I needed everything done quickly, and I was broke, like I often was in the first year or two out of my business. My friend was also broke because he couldn't do any fucking recording sessions because they didn't have any electricity. I needed to get everything done quickly. I had no money left, and I said, help me with, you help me with the shipping. I'll get you a chicken roll from Amadeus. And that was my first employee right there. That was my first employee right there. Broke people helping each other out. Shout out to Jake from Space Lab Recordings if he's watching this. Man, those are the fucking days. Remember working at a studio owned by a cokehead, Jake? Remember that? You remember that? Remember? Oh man, the shit that we both went through to get where we are right now. The shit that we both dealt with to get where we are right now. I get where people are coming from with the argument that if you can't pay a decent wage, your job shouldn't exist. But at the same time, isn't something better than nothing? Something is better than nothing. I think the aggravation is not out of that. It's when people who clearly have the means to do things, like, I don't even mean, mildly successful, but when people who are above and beyond successful go out of their way to make sure that you get the shittiest amount possible. Like that's what I think that's where that type of rhetoric comes from, and I understand it. But it pisses me off when people go, if you can't afford X or if you can't do that, you don't deserve to have a business. It's like, fuck you. You just try starting some shit from scratch. See where you, with no money. And no bank that wants to finance you and no loan or anything. Let's see what you do. Something beats nothing. And like there's a lot of stuff that I don't actually do because I know I would not be able to afford to pay people properly to be able to, like, there are certain services that I don't offer because there's no way in hell that I would be able to pay someone something that is acceptable to do it. Like when people will say, why don't you work on this? I go, it's too old. Well, and they'll get really fucking offended. But if we say it's too old, you have to explain it in a customer ball coddling, ball tickling kind of way that they don't one-star you. But if you give me a device to work on that is worth $47, I need to charge you about 30% of what the device is worth max so that you'll want to fix it, maybe 50%. So that gives me a budget of $20. So that means that the person who's working on the device, now keep in mind when you have a business, when you have all the overhead and all the other expenses of running a business, that means that you're going to have to pay the employee somewhere between 1/3 to 1/4 or so what it is you charge the customer. So, okay, we've already worked out that we have about a $10 or $15 budget to fix this thing, which means I got to pay the employee about $5 to $10 to fix it. What they don't realize is that the demand for that salary to be low is not even directly coming from the employer. The employer is just being a middleman for the customer there. Because the customer is asking you to do, the customer is essentially telling you, fix my problem for $5 or $10. When they bring you a $47 device and say fix it, what they're saying is, whoever's working on this I need them to fix it for $7 to $10. And if it's a problem that has a good chance of taking half an hour to an hour, well, now you have a situation whereby the person working on it would have to be making fucking $7 or $10 an hour. Probably less, because again, there's going to be devices that are not always fixable. Remember, this is a no fix, no fee business. But this is where things become complicated. This is where things start to become complicated. Where things that sound good, where things that's, where rhetoric that sounds fair and sounds righteous winds up kind of falling apart. So what I do as a business is I find ways to say no to all the shit that's going to fall into that area, where in order to do it properly, I would have to underpay someone or rip you off. Because here's the way I see it. Even if I could actually find someone who's willing to work for $7 or $10 an hour doing board repair, let's say you find someone that's willing to do that. How fucking good are they going to be? They're going to suck. Because the people who are actually good at that job are going to get, taken by someone else. Like a lot of the people that I have here that are employees that are good, I stole from someone that was underpaying them. By the way, this guy said before it stopped turning on that his sleep was not working. And you notice that we have corrosion in our hall sensor area. Now, it is economical to repair if someone else is willing to work for less. And here's where I direct you to the free market. Yes, that evil free market. Go on eBay right now. Search for like iPad backlight fuse or shit like that. You will see $15 including shipping that people, not companies, people are volunteering to work below minimum wage. Absolute fucking insanity. The shipping, the time to make the listing, the time to deal with the customer, the time to package it, the time to open the fucking iPad, close the fucking iPad properly, all this shit. $15 damn. At the end of the day, once you legislate that a company can't pay a slave wage, you'll find people going on eBay and choosing to freaking pay themselves slave wages. It's sad. It really is. I remember back in 2011 when I was able to undercut everyone on eBay in order to get higher sales volume by offering Logic Board Repair for $159. Now if you offer Logic Board Repair on eBay for $159, you're probably considered part of an aristocracy or something. On Reddit, you find so many people posting about entitled people wanting to pay less than minimum wage for people to watch their kids with experience. I wonder what people are attracted to those offers and if I wanted those people too close to my kids. But yeah, for me, if you're personally willing to work for like $7 or $10 an hour and do this job, my concern at that point is, are you qualified? Like, are you actually going to do it? Because greed goes both ways. A lot of people say that I am not greedy because I pay people a better salary than most other companies in the industry. In our little section of, consumer electronics repair. Some burrito money for you. Thanks for the content. Thank you, Klon. But I'm not. I'm just greedy in the other direction. It's just people have this tendency to paint me out to be so much nicer than I am, which I always push back against. I want the ability to demand quality. I have high expectations. I just happen to, what I expect and demand of the people that work here is quite a bit. But yeah, when someone says, like, if this is not, when someone says you can't pay someone this little to do this, then you have to keep in mind that it's not just the employer. It's the customer who walks in the door with the $47 device, who doesn't want to pay $47 for another $47 device, who then wants you to perform open-ended troubleshooting on it. That there's more involved in that transaction than you see. Because they may not know that that's what they're asking, but that's what they're asking. Yeah, they don't actually know that it's going to be that much of an issue, but you know. Minimum wage tackles the issue from wrong end. Issue is cost of living in many areas like rent, which politicians have failed at resolving. Yeah, you make a point there. Because even if you make minimum wage $15 an hour in New York City, who cares? Seriously, who cares? You know, I'm looking at houses and I need to live all the way at the end of the city in order for a house to be only $720,000. If your rent is $2,000 or $3,000 a month, okay, you make $15 an hour. Big fucking whoop, you know? Doesn't really do anything there. It's not going to solve anything. By the time we get a $15 an hour minimum wage, you're going to need 30. My issue with minimum wage law right now is that there is not a corresponding piece of legislation regarding internships that seems satisfactory to me. In order to be an intern, you either need to be doing it for college credit or minimum wage. And one of the ways that I learned a lot of the stuff that I learned here on how to deal with clients when they're really pissed at you, how to get people to trust you, how to do the job properly, how to have just a kind of diagnostic thought process with electronics repair, I learned while working at a place called Avatar Studios, and I worked there for $0 an hour in 2007, and then eventually I got hired for $750 after a 3-month-long internship that was not for college credit, and it was not for not for college credit, and it was not for money. So that would have technically been considered an illegal internship. It was not. It was against labor law. However, that arrangement is the arrangement that allowed me, when I was 18 years old or so, just turned 18 or 7. I forget if it was 17 or 18, but I was able at the time to work with literally the best in the world. You know, I got to work alongside the people like Ricky Began and Roy Hendrickson and Phil Lipscomb and all of these people who were just really, really good technicians who really beat into me the, quality workmanship and how to do the job. And that gave me a leg up on everybody else. It allowed me to get ahead. And that place would have never let me in the door if I was the man, if I cost money. Because if I had cost $15 an hour, $15 an hour, we don't need to hire a fucking idiot 17-year-old that doesn't know anything. We could get somebody else. The only way that I was able to provide value in that situation was the fact that for 3 months straight, I was willing to clean toilets and clean phones and all this, clean the ear sweat off of the phones and clean the puke that when musicians were throwing up all over the roof while they were having their 30th anniversary party. That was the bargain. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I am clueless. Not only am I clueless in your industry, I am 17 years old, so I don't even have tact. I'm probably going to say shit that's going to get you in trouble. There's a risk of that, but in exchange, I will swipe your floors and clean all this shit and say, yes, sir, thank you, sir, and get people food. And all I'm asking in return is the ability to be around and learn. And that proposition got me where I am. So for me to be in favor of something that would have essentially taken away my pathway to where I am, I feel like I'm betraying my past self. So there's got to be some sort of balance. If you want to have a $15 or a $20 minimum wage, you do you, but there's got to be something in there that allows someone like me to have gotten where I got. There has to be something in there that allows someone who is young, uneducated, unexperienced, with little to nothing to offer, to be able to walk in and make that type of deal that I made. So some sort of reforming of the internship system, maybe a reforming of the apprenticeship system. Fuck me, that cap just flew into the air. Fume extractor, son of a bitch. Because I know there's got to be something that keeps people from... There's got to be something there that's going to keep employers from outright exploiting people. But at the same time, there's also got to be some way for me to get on the bottom rung of a ladder somewhere. Because I got a job working at Model Sporting Goods for $6 an hour, but that wasn't really teaching me what I wanted to know. And places like this, like, I have no reason to hire you for 15 or 20 bucks an hour if you don't know what you're doing. There's no point in that. There's no reason for that. And what you're going to wind up doing to try to get a job, if nobody's going to hire you at an entry-level position, you're probably going to go to some trade school and pay $30,000 or $40,000 to learn how to do something in the hopes of getting a job. Because there's a lot of trade schools. I mean, fuck, in the recording studio industry, oh my God, there are so many rent seekers. There's Full Sail, SAE, IAR. There's all these fucking places that make it sound like there's these great jobs that you can get if you just give us $10,000 or $40,000 first. F Apple, F Enterprise companies in general, and F Apple's BS. Yeah, there's so many companies that are more than happy to tell you, oh yeah, just give us $40,000 and we'll give you a little certificate. That won't get you a job. But dare you get an internship that doesn't pay you anything for a month. That's illegal. That's illegal. But taking $40,000 from someone to give them a certificate that doesn't teach them jack shit, that's okay. That's okay. Ah! I recently sent my A1398 for repair by the Apple Store, not an AASP. They charged me $330 for a new top case assembly, battery, and a new right side I/O. Do you think that was a reasonable repair cost? That is a fucking steal. That is a great deal if you actually needed all of that stuff. That is, yeah, they treated you well. Because again, I'll be real when you get treated well or when you get treated poorly. A lot of the times Apple Store treats people poorly, but what they gave you right there, that's a good deal. That was supporting you as a customer. You had a really old machine that did not have a known serious design flaw, so there's really no reason for them to be giving you free shit under warranty. And they gave you a very fair deal for a lot of money. I mean, for a little money. I'm fine with an internship, but it should not be part of the business model of free labor. In particular, not if it does not include the chance to get a job and make up for the lost money. Yeah, there's that. Like, places like Avatar, like, you knew what they were doing. They had a fucking intern mill there for 30 years. Because Avatar knew that they were a very highly coveted studio and that there are people that would toss me in front of the J train, as Jake would say, for a chance to work there for free. And, like, they knew that, and I'm sure that they pimped that as much as they could. Let's see if this turns on now. So I think that, at some point, there was so much... Everything's a pendulum. What's your opinion on Apple moving away from Intel? I don't give a fuck. They can do whatever they want. I don't give a shit. I could care less. I don't care. Not one bit. It's going to be more annoying to learn a new architecture to fix those machines, but otherwise I don't really care. It's not high on the list for me. So I think it's kind of like a pendulum. So like, super exploitation. Oh shit, we need to clamp down. Oh crap, now there's no opportunity. Oh crap, now there's a bunch of exploitation. Oh crap, now there's no opportunity. Oh, it's a pendulum. And I think at some point we got so far to the exploitation section that now it's going to swing back and forth. Again, am I personally sad that if a 17-year-old comes to me and says it's my last year of high school, I want to be able to learn how to do what you do. I have no idea what it is. Can I get an internship with you? I have to say no. Yes, that sucks. That sucks that by doing that, by technically taking in that kid as an intern, I would be breaking the law. It makes me sick that the path to success that I took, that worked for me, is not a path that I can offer to someone else because the visibility I have as a business means that I cannot do illegal shit like what Avatar did behind closed doors with those fucking shady internships. And I cannot pay you 15 or 20 bucks an hour if you don't know anything about the business. I'm sorry, I can't do it. I'm not fucking money bags here. I don't. If you looked at the quality of homes that I'm budgeting to be able to buy, you'd see. I can't just hire people willy-nilly at 15 to 20 bucks an hour, who have no ability to offer value. So what I do there is kind of a compromise, is I put out all the videos that I do in the hopes that you can learn on your own, and then you can apply for a job here. And by the time you apply for the job here, maybe you'll have an idea how to work on this stuff, and you actually will be worth the amount of money that I am mandated to pay you. But yeah, like it's not a personal thing. It's not a me saying you're not worth this as a person. It's just to this business you're not worth much. Like as a home inspector, I'm not worth minimum wage. As a home inspector, I'm actually worth negative. I will cost you money because I'm a fucking idiot in that regard. You know, so if someone comes here and says, I want to learn, but I don't know anything, I don't have anything to offer you, like, what do I do? It's a difficult thing. Okay. Let's see what this is taking out of curiosity. I've been talking way too much. So it looks like we're taking 500 milliamps here. And it looks like the fan is spinning, as it always does, because I'm awesome and amazing and great and the best ever. Totally unbiased there. Let's see if we have a backlight in the screen. If we do, I'm going to be putting this through an ultrasonic cleaner. Perhaps giving it 1 second pass through just to make sure that there's nothing nasty that got missed. You always want to do that. Yeah, for me, what I've done to eliminate my aggravation with that issue is I just put as much out there as I can for free so that people can learn, and hopefully you're able to make something of that. But yeah, that's the other thing. Interns, it's not even that it's like free labor. Interns cost you money because the thing is, if interns are gonna do stupid shit. I know the shit that I did as an intern. I know the stuff that my other interns did when they were interns. Interns do stupid shit. They do things that will cost you money. They're going to say things to customers that are going to cost you money. They're going to break shit while they're learning. Interns cost considerable amounts of money. It's not even... paying someone who's actually going to cost me money for a good period of time is just not something I can do. Especially, here's the thing. There are interns that want to work to get hired, and then there are also interns that want to work in exchange for knowledge to be able to build their own place. So like with recording studios, a lot of the people that interned at these studios, they weren't even looking to get a job at the studio. They just wanted to learn so that they could apply it to their own studio. So people will say, well, you're paying the intern to learn, but once they are a full employee, then they'll work for you. A lot of people who ask for internships are specifically asking for internships because they want to learn how to improve their skill set so that they can have their own business. So if you pay the intern, it's actually counterproductive because you're literally paying them to learn. And once they reach the point where they stop costing you money, where you may actually be able to recoup on the investment, they leave, which is absolutely fine if they're working for free. That's absolutely fine if that is discussed and arranged up front. Like I wouldn't, but it just makes zero sense as a business transaction to pay someone who has no ability to offer value because they don't know how to do any of what you do, and after that you're done with the 2 to 3 month internship period, like, okay, cool, I learned everything, thanks, I'm gonna go work for a competitor. Like I don't mind teaching people how to do all this stuff. I really don't mind teaching people. I enjoy it a lot. I like seeing when people email me pictures of their own little repair shops that they kind of styled and all that stuff. And it's just I don't want to pay you for that process. Like that's where I. No. Okay, I've really just repeated myself way too many times there. So I am going to plug this in, and I'm going to see if I get a picture on the screen or smoke. Hopefully not smoke. Except for Kevin, someone said. No, especially Kevin. We love Kevin here. Honestly, Kevin went from a person that I wanted to fire to a person that does the job better than Steve and I. Like, if there was no coronavirus or sexual harassment lawsuits to worry about, I would go up to Kevin and give him a bear hug. I'm fucking proud of that guy. He really understands every element, every subtlety of working for us, all the things that make it difficult, all the things that are how to deal with a customer when they're agitated, how to de-escalate situations, how to arrange win-win scenarios with people. He is how to anticipate things that will become issues before they're issues. He has come so far, and I'm fucking proud of him, and I'm happy to say that he has surpassed both Steve and I in the ability to do that job. I really think it's awesome. So shout out to Kevin. So this works. This has a picture on the screen. This works. That's it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something. Yeah. See you in the next one.